Okay, update on the Tyvek. The tarp I'm sitting under now. I've got my Eno and bug net set up right now. I'm going to cover two things here today. The paint still smells on this Tyvek. It's been several days and I've had it set up here overnight underneath my deck to hopefully trying to get it to air out, but it still smells bad. So I'm thinking the painting might have been a bad idea. So paint at your own discretion. I don't think I'm gonna like it too much. The fumes were really strong when I first did it, and after a day of airing out it's still pretty strong and I can still smell it. Sitting underneath it, I can't smell it. So I'm still on the fence about whether or not I'm gonna keep this one or just go with a plain white one. So that's the update on the Tyvek Rainfly. Now, mainly what I want to talk about is my no-knot setup. I've mentioned it before in videos, but I've never really shot a video, and I've had people ask me about that situation. So, in my opinion, trying to untie a knot early in the morning, especially on a cold camping trip, trying to undo the knots for the Rainfly or for your stakes or whatever is just a pain. I hate knots. I don't like them. So over the course of many trips, I've tried to come up with different ways of avoiding tying a knot. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the Rainfly, the ridgeline for the Rainfly, the stakes, how I set up my my tree huggers, and everything. So this is the Rainfly, bug net, and hammock no-knot setup. Okay, so first things first. These are my stakes that's connected to some snagit line that I've actually turned into a whoopee sling, and then that is looped in to the grow gain loop here. So when I need to tighten it up, I'll just take it and tighten it up, or if I need to loosen it, it's very easy to loosen. Once you grab the right string, it's very easy to loosen. So there we go. I hammer in the stakes. I don't take a hammer with me. I just use some sort of stick, and actually the stick I used is right there next to that stake. That's what I used. I just grab a stake, grab a log out of the field, and I use it as a baton. Now there's two ways that you can do this. One, let's loosen this up a little bit. These groundhog stakes, I love them. There's three sides to them. Well, there's 3 points to them, which gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides that grabs the dirt. And they've got these hooks cut into them. What you can do, and I have done this before, and it does make it so much stronger, is you take the open end of your loop of your whoopee sling, slide it through the string there, and then come through and now you've actually got it attached to the string. So if in the middle of the night, while you've got it in there, it does tend to get loose for some reason and slip out, you've got a backup plan. Now that is the way I do it out in the field, but for just airing out the tarp I haven't messed with it. Oops. Okay, so the no-knot setup for the stakes is pretty basic. Snagit line turned into a whoopee sling, wrapped into the grow gain, looped through the rope on the stake, and then just use the tag end to tighten or loosen. And what's beautiful about this is I could actually be underneath the tarp in like a rainstorm. See, here I am underneath it, and it starts to rain and get windy. I could actually loosen or tighten without being out here in the rain getting wet. Now we've talked about the Tyvek a little bit on the previous video. For the ridgeline, I'm just using the rope I got from REI. And thanks to my good buddy Bloom George at the Hammock forum site, I can now get set up with a no-knot setup on my ridgeline. So my snake skins right now are covering it up. This is pretty cool. Again, I'm trying to accomplish a no-knot setup, okay? So if I want to break down, I just pull this tag into the slippery half hitch, and all this stuff just comes unwound, and there she goes, okay? Here's a close-up of what we got. This right here is the Tarp key, as he called it. Looks kind of like an anchor from a boat. You got these cleats along the side here, and this is the line going to the ridge line. This is the line going to the tree, and you find a good spot for it, and then you just wrap it. You get it around those cleats, then you hook it to the small hook. If you see, one of these hooks is longer than the other. So you grab it in the small hook, come around the tree, hook into it, and from here you just wrench down on it and pull it tight. So from here you go back into the small, come around back into the large, and now you can let go of it. So from here, make you a little clove hitch, I think is what it's called. And then just for safety's sake, I always back it up with a slippery half hitch. So that takes care of the Rainfly ridgeline. Next up, tree huggers. So what I've done here is I've gotten some climbing webbing that I've sewn a loop into it right here, and that's my sewing job. Yep, that's me. I got about 4 inches, I think that's 2 and 2 of stitching into a loop. Then across here I've got a soft shackle made through Opie at the Hammock forum site's directions, and I can give you a greater detail on how that works on a different video. But that holds my tag in for my other, for the other end of the tree hugger. Let's get this out of the way here real quick. Alright, so you loop in your toggle. I'm not going to carry any toggles on this next trip. 1, I don't want to lose it and be stuck. 2, a stick will work just as fine. Get about the size of your thumb, not rotten of course, but when you set this up, you want to make sure that you set up. See, right now I've got the loop. This is the loop to the bug net. That's something else. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I've got the loop of my whoopee sling pretty much on the stick itself. That's bad. What you want to do is get that loop on the knot. See, now it's catching the knot. There's not a whole lot of pressure on this stick, so there's not a chance of it breaking so much. But if it was to get back on top of the stick like that, then there's pressure on the stick, and that's bad. At least that's my understanding. So you want to make sure you get the whoopee sling loop on the back side of that knot when you do it. So let's talk about this a minute. Again, tag in for the rope, for the strap. what you want to do is you want to take this is nothing new, flip the string up, flip the strap up, reach through the middle and grab it, and that's when you want to slide your toggle, or in this case a stick that I picked up off the ground. Then you take your loop for your whoopee sling, and that goes around it. Make sure you catch the back side of that knot, like that. Now, thanks to Professor Hammock's, he pointed out that you can take, and I forget what he called it. This is just a mason line that I used. I just wrapped it around it, and it just slides up, and it keeps the loop from popping off the toggle. Not so much of a problem while you're sleeping, because when this gets pressure on it, it's not going anywhere. That loop is mainly there for me when I'm getting everything set up. I'll figure out about where I want everything to go. I'll slide that up. Then I'll go to the other side and I'll work that side. And this just keeps from popping off whenever I try to tighten or loosen the whoopee sling on the ridgeline to get my hang the way I want it. This little slide is not here to prevent it from popping off in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping. Because when there's weight on this, it's not going to pop off. If it is, then you're just having too many nightmares and you're just jumping around too much. But that happens on both sides. Okay? Now, okay, next is my Eno hammock that I've modified a little bit. I've added a ridgeline to it. It does not come with a ridgeline. You can't really see it all that good now because of the bug net, so let me try to do something about that. Alright, now this is how I modified the Eno. The Eno I've not slept in yet, but I have laid in it with my air mattress and it's very comfortable. This is one of those soft shackles. It's made out of am steel, 7/64, just some of that ugly green I have. I got a lanyard knot at the end, and it's made in such a way where I can actually loop around and then tighten down on it and it's tight. That's running through the channel, and then that is what I've gripped with my whoopee sling loop. So this rope is actually forming a knot, and that's keeping the whoopee sling from sliding off. Now for the ridgeline, again, it's a whoopee sling made from tech line that I got from Backwoods Daydreamer. Awesome site. This is where the tag end ended up, so I can adjust it a little bit. I've got it pretty much set that where it is now is pretty much where it's going to stay. And that's my ridgeline for the hammock. And it is simply looped around the end of my whoopee sling. So if I want to, I could actually take the whoopee sling down from the tree, and then this will just fall right off. It's not permanently made into the system. Now for the bug net is the Eno Guardian, made by Eagle Nest Outfitters. It collapses down right there, keeps all the bugs from coming in, hopefully. Just get down on it. And sewn into it are these clips. You got about 5 of them stretched out across the top. And what came with it is another ridgeline that you attach to each end of the trees, and this clips on to the ridgeline, kind of like the way you would do it at the top here. The string's a little too thick for this, but it would clip onto the ridgeline like this and keep it off of you. But since I already have a ridgeline built into my hammock, I don't use the extra string that comes to it, but this right here is made to help keep it straight. So what I do, or this is what I plan to do, because like I said, I haven't slept in this thing yet, is I'm going to take this and I'm just going to loop it on the end of my toggle. And this is adjustable using Prusik knot technology. I think it's called a taut line hitch, where I can actually loosen it up that way. Or I can tighten it. Now what that does is keeps this end this way and keeps all this pretty tight, all the way down the other end as well. Again, all of this stuff is ready to go, looped in, no knots. Once again, everything I've got set up here is looped or using a slippery half hitch. There's no knot involved in that. It might be called a bend or a bite, but there's no knots. A knot to me is what's tied into the end of this. This is actually you might want to call it a double overhand, but it's also called a stopper knot. We call it that in the climbing world. It's a stopper knot. It's easy to make, and that to me is a knot because I have to actually pull it apart and undo it, versus just pulling on a tag end and then I'm ready to go. That's a pretty basic setup. Doesn't take long to set up, doesn't take long to tear down. Now like I said, I've got my Tyvek tarp out here still trying to get it aired out, and that's why I went ahead and set up the hammock underneath it on these posts underneath my deck, so I can not have to worry about pulling down the Tyvek tarp, taking it over there to the trees and using trees. I'm just using what I have just to demonstrate the no knot setup. But there you go, Tyvek update, no knot setup. I'd love some comments. I appreciate all your support. Thanks for watching.